Hey, good afternoon, guys, or good morning, I suppose. David Yeomans here around the lunch hour. We're losing track of time here on the Texas coast. We have since had to move locations in our coverage of Hurricane Hanna, which continues to intensify into a solid Category 1 storm. The eye of the hurricane, the outer edge of it, is only 15 miles behind me. The wind and the surge have been picking up. The wind gusts measured just down from me at Bob Hall Pier at 69 miles per hour. That's almost a hurricane force wind gust. And I'll remind you, this storm has sustained 80 mile per hour winds in its strongest core, which should be heading here shortly. How about the surge? This is exactly why we had to move locations, guys. That previous spot was safe up on the sandbar, or the barrier of sand where we were located, but the problem was the parking lot below us started to flood. We had to leave the parking lot with 2 feet of water that was already getting a lot worse, a lot deeper. Look at that big piece of debris there, Todd, getting carried back out to sea. We had to leave that location because the parking lot would have soon been impassable and we would have been stranded up on that little tiny hill of sand all throughout the rest of the evening. So the storm surge is continuing to make an assault on the island. Pretty incredible to see this right behind me, which should be a turnaround for your vehicle. And even behind it, that should be an area where you can park your car on the beach, as many like to do here on the middle Texas coast. This hurricane continues to intensify, and the effects here are really starting now to be felt. The ocean, even though it is going from high to low tide, which means the tide should be going out, it continues to slowly rise. It's risen now almost a full 6 feet above the standard tide baseline, and that's considered storm surge, 3 to 6 feet of storm surge. The experts at the National Hurricane Center are telling us that it could keep surging more as the wind from the Gulf of Mexico piles all this water right onto the middle Texas coast on the north side of this spinning eye. They're telling us that by the end of the afternoon, at the worst, we could have storm surge inundation of 3 to 5 feet. The inundation of 3 to 5 feet means that's how deep it is above the ground level. So even if you're a couple feet above sea level, some of these homes, etc., we could still have several feet deep of land, which is obviously bigger than a 6-foot storm surge from sea level. You can tell I'm having to brace into the wind. I have my pocket anemometer out to measure the wind. We got a 52-mile-an-hour gust or so just a few minutes ago. And again, the real anemometer down the way at the pier, 69-mile-per-hour gust, with sustained winds a little weaker than that, but still certainly tropical storm force. Let me turn my back to the wind here so I can see what you guys are seeing with you. You can see some of these beach signs here, which are supposed to be obviously on dry land, well underwater, high pounding surf. You cannot imagine swimming or surfing in this. That's why a storm surge warning and high surf warning are in effect. You know, we went out to get some last minute gas for our vehicle, make sure we're all stocked up for the long day to come. And it took a while to find an open gas station. We actually had to run back to the mainland across the bridge back to Corpus to find some fuel that was available for us and that hadn't been shut down. And this is kind of a contrast to what we told you yesterday, remember? Remember yesterday we were a little concerned that people weren't taking this storm seriously enough. They thought it was going to be weak or manageable. Nobody that I had seen had taken any preparations in terms of boarding up windows or even taking their boats out of the water yesterday. Now today it's a bit of a different story. Some of the gas stations and businesses are boarded up now. We spoke with someone who lives here, a resident who was up on this hill taking some pictures a few minutes ago. And she said she took her boat out of the water last night and put up her storm shutters on the windows last night. She said as of yesterday afternoon, she wasn't even going to bring in the patio furniture because she thought this storm was not going to be a big deal. So, you know, a reminder of how powerful a 60, 70 mile per hour wind is that's very hard to stand up in. It may not sound like a lot on the hurricane maps when you have that happen with several storms per season, but it's certainly a powerful thing. And again, we do have a lot more coming this evening than that. We may be having a little bit of water getting into our gear. Todd, do we need to cut it? Yeah, okay. We're going to have to let you guys go. Got to keep our gear waterproofed here. We'll see you guys again here shortly. Thank you.